let's play a clip here. Matt Rhule was asked if he felt like he had a confident team, and here was his response.
But I do think, if I'm going to be completely honest, my battle since I've been here has been the here we go again, which is predates us. It's like, oh, here we go again. Whether it's just the constant narratives of tough losses or, we were having some success early. The local narrative is always very much like, here's what they're not good at, right? So our kids are reading what they're not good at. And that's life. I'm not complaining about that. It's just, you want to complain in Nebraska, like, you deal with it. So when things go wrong, we naturally, in that game, to me, kind of, in some ways, it looked like sunk back into, like, here we go again. And I'm not saying that I saw that. Okay, I didn't feel that during the game. I was competing to the end. But that's, as I talk to people, that's kind of what they said. I think it always comes down to just football. Like if you're supposed to be in the B gap, then be in the B gap. Like, don't go to the A gap. Like, touchdown hits because you're in the wrong gap. So whether that's confidence or whatever.
So, I mean, like, I wish that there would have been like, all right, let's go further down that. Let's go further down that line.
I would have
because
I
there,
would like to pick at that a little bit.
Right there at the end is where we left off, and that's where I want to. That's my entry point. That's my door to a more interesting conversation about this. He's always said that. He's always said, I just want to be about football, right? I just want it to be about football.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Nebraska's way back, right? That is Nebraska. Like, just do the football things. But Matt Rhule, and we've mentioned this several times throughout his time here, and I think last year he was sort of taken back a little bit by how prevalent it was, meaning the struggles from a mental perspective, the woe is me, the here we go again. Like, I think he was probably surprised by how prevalent that was. And I think he found himself even more surprised on Saturday that popped up again. He knows it, though. Like, he knows that he knows that's why. Because if they work, and it was the same thing that Frost was having to deal with, right? If they do it well in practice all week, when Frost would always talk about, and everyone would get triggered, we had the best week of practice ever. What he was really trying to say, and he didn't really know how to say things out loud a lot, but what he was really trying to say was, I know this team is capable of doing the things that I'm asking them to because I watch it. I see it happen every single day at practice, and I sometimes see it in the games, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't click all the time. And it needs to be in and this is taking it to the next level. It always feels like Nebraska needs to have the perfect circumstances to be able to execute the way they can to the best of their abilities. And I don't know why that is. Is it because of and Rhule touched on this a little bit, the constant scrutiny in a good and in a bad way?
See, we're trying to talk about the NBA and its opening day so that the players don't hear us talk about them and that they can do their jobs. That's what we're trying to do. That
way, when you get when you get out there, does it affect you? Or I don't it's been something that has just been ingrained into the program now for a long time. The here we go again. And every time it happens, you suck a new generation, a new wave of players into this sort of hole with you. And it's definitely a thing. And this will come up in a conversation maybe that maybe we'll just dive into it soon here. But it's a thing with Nebraska's trusted, steady, old leaders. Right. Oh. So it's passed down, right? It's not like those guys who have been around for a really long time are not making mistakes. They are the ones that are oftentimes making the mistakes, and that part of it is sort of tough to swallow. So that's like the mental thing that goes into this. And I don't know what Nebraska does about that. And Matt Rhule hasn't cracked that code yet. And remember, when he this is a big picture thing. When Matt Rhule started here, he looked at those players and he said, I like you guys. I think we can win football games with you. We just got to change the way we do things. Mm-hmm. And I think he's right. But this is like the last, this is like the Bowser. This is the final boss to getting those guys to fully reach their potential. Because look at them. I mean, look at, guys who will go off to the NFL after this year who have been around for a long time or haven't. Isaiah Nair is a good example maybe of this. And those guys get thrown under the bus a lot because they don't block on the perimeter and all that stuff. But like that guy's going to go to the NFL and probably have a career. Ty Robinson might go to the NFL and have a career. And how many times has that happened? Over and over and over again over the last 10 years where guys will be like, yeah, I just don't know. They never really saw that at Nebraska. And then all of a sudden they go to the NFL and they get put in the right situation. And it's just, they're allowed to, whether it's do their work in silence or what, nobody's watching them. Like it's all the personal. They're not feeling this weight of carrying an entire state, an entire program. Matt Rhule has chosen to embrace that throughout his time here, in which I think, by the way, is the proper way to do it.
Definitely.
You either embrace it or you rail against it, and that's not the right way to do it either. No. So you embrace it. But then it becomes a weight that your players have to shoulder as well. And I don't know, man. It's really, really tricky. And so you thought the thought process at the beginning of this year was that Nebraska had this kind of light enough schedule, this easy little run up to the big games this year. And they would win enough of those games that they would play well enough in those games to where confidence wasn't going to be an issue anymore. You could get this nice little runway into a nice smooth cruise up to 10,000 feet. And then you see if you hit some turbulence when you get up there. Then you really find out. Well, it hasn't necessarily worked out that way. And so there's a lot to that conversation, but no, I don't think watching, because like I said yesterday, they don't execute simple stuff, simple things that he knows, I know, we all know that they can execute. They wouldn't be football players in Nebraska if they couldn't do the things that they were being asked to do. They can. They're not going above and beyond trying to ask them to do these special things. But block the guy. Be in the B gap when you're supposed to be in the B gap. Block the correct guy. Leverage the right area. Whatever. Be in the right run fit. Trust the guy next to you.
Your guy's going to do the same thing and block his guy.
What I see a lot of the times is, especially from those older guys, is that oftentimes they will be trying to do too much. Frost talked about it a lot during his time here. They want it so bad. They want it so bad. They want it too bad. They want it too bad a lot of the times.
They want to be the class that brings Nebraska back. And it's very noble. Would love for it to happen for you.
Yeah. Adam writes in, he says, this is year 2. The culture should be changed by now. I think I think we're talking about two different things. Culture is an all-encompassing word. I think Nebraska's culture is a lot different. I think the way that
they're lifting weights again.
I think the way the players interact with each other, the way they interact with the media, the way they interact with the public, they have been taught, and therefore they take on the personality of a different culture. It's a different culture. But when you go out there in the field, it's I don't know. It's not the culture, right? It's a thought process. You still have to do your job. And if your brain's not in the right place, if your mind is somewhere else and it's not focused on the thing right in front of you, and you've been trained over and over and over again to do that job, then it's not gonna work out for you. Why do I watch other programs all the time and I see them play so freely? I see them, They move with such freedom. They're confident. They tackle. They celebrate. They celebrate each other. It just never seems that easy with Nebraska. It just feels like there's so many other things on their mind while they're playing football. And it's just that is a thing that's there in that program.
The way we talk about this here we go again thing, we always talk about it as if like John Bullock is like, freshmen, come over here. Let me tell you a little story. Whenever it starts going bad, you can just stop because it ain't going to change. It's just going to keep going bad. It's the demons that haunt this place. And it's like, no, it's do your job. The guy next to you is going to do his job. And together you'll get the whole unit moving forward in the right direction. I don't know I don't know how you make that mental shift and that physical shift of, okay, we all got to just drop this and
I don't either.
Kind of get tunnel vision. Like, okay, I'm going to do my singular job
they practice
and we'll
it.
all move together. Yeah.
They practice it.
I don't know if it is practice harder, get yelled at more. I don't know what it is.
So John says on the text line, John says failing to execute equals bad coaching and lack of focus equals coaching. Bad coaching. No doubt. Like they have to get whatever, like maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong about us sort of tearing this apart and trying to open up the program and seeing the inner workings of inside the brains of these guys. Maybe we're right, maybe we're wrong, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Either way, yeah, I mean, it is ultimately up to the coach and the coaching staff. It is their responsibility to be able to fix it. It will determine the success of this program under Coach Rhule. It will determine. They have to fix it. So, it's not an if. It's not like this equals this. Ultimately, it is up to you because this is the roadblock. In my opinion, this is their main roadblock that they face, and it's been 19 games. And it hasn't been fixed yet. And maybe the simple answer is, all right, well, you move guys out and new wave of guys come in but it's been that way for years. It's been that way for years.
And to be fair, yesterday, I think Matt Rhule sounded a little lost, a little like, hey, if I had the answers, I would tell them to you, but I don't have the answers for what happened. I would like to. I'd love to. It would really help me if I did. But I just don't have the answers.
He only knows one way of trying to go about this. And that is just keep doing what you're doing. Do it until it works. That's it. That's what they're going to keep doing. That doesn't mean they can't change, and tweak things like from a schematic standpoint, offensively, defensively, like they have to get better at that piece of it. But as far as being able to put players out there and trusting them to execute simple things, they just have to keep, they have to keep trying. Yeah. It's really that simple and that difficult at the same time. I don't know what the other way to get it, because you can't manufacture situations where it's always going your way. You
can't. Okay, this Saturday is going to be exactly like the Colorado game. You gotta come out. You got to be that amped before the game and in the first quarter, and then the rest will fall into place for you.
Nick from St. Louis writes in.
Hello, Nick from the Lou.
He says it's been 3 staffs now. It's not coaching. It's ingrained. Okay, but it's this staff's job to figure it out, and it's the next staff's job to figure it out, and it's the next staff's job. Unfortunately, and you have to do it all while there is heavy and intense scrutiny / praise if you do something. You have to do it all under the circumstances that Nebraska gives you. Nebraska can't shut the program down for a year and then reappear under this new name and this new, healed fan base. No, you inherit all of the things. You inherit all of the problems. You inherit all of the good things. But I think part of the reason, when Matt Rhule talks about his track record of success at Temple and Baylor, they won a combined 3 games in his first year at each of those places. And nobody gave a rip. Nobody cared. Did that make it easier on him to like tear down to the studs and go through the real painful things those first and second years at those places? Yes. It makes it a lot easier. It does.
There's
so at Nebraska, that's just not an option.
mm-hmm.
That was always going to be the thing that was non-transferable from Temple and Baylor to Nebraska. You can't do it in silence here. You can't do it under the guise of anything. People are always there. They're always there. They will care. And if Nebraska wins less than whatever games or doesn't play up to its standard, people will be mad at you and people will get fired as a result of it. You can't, is that Nebraska's best path forward? Do it without the scrutiny, the love, the hate, the attention, all that stuff. Yeah, I think that would make it a lot easier for this staff, but that's not an option.
Not an option. There's scrutiny everywhere. East Carolina, Southern Miss fired their head coaches already.
Yeah, but see, it's different though. If Matt Rhule goes to those places and he says, "All right, I'm taking over this garbage pile of a program," and tells everybody, "Listen, we're going to suck this year, but trust me, we'll get back." Or if he does it at Indiana. If he takes over the same job that Cignetti took over this year, Matt Rhule's immediate idea would have been to do the exact same thing he did at Nebraska. Take those same group of guys he played with at Indiana, see how many games they could win at first, see where you're at, see what the culture's like, fix it. We'll be good in 2 years. They inherited this group of players and stuck with them. And they now, I think, have found out that the mental problems, the stuff is the baggage is really heavy. The baggage is really heavy.
And you can absolutely go through a game like Colorado and go, okay, maybe we cleared those bats out of our belfry. And a month later, okay, maybe they're still there. That is a thing that is possible, as much as it sucks to hear, because you'd like to continuously be moving in the right direction instead of one step forward, 3 steps back.
John emails in.
Hi, John.
No, this is a text. Riley, Frost, Rhule, all 500 coaches. What the hell do we expect them to do? Okay, so John, you're talking about results. Right? We're talking about the things that get results, right? The process, right? So is Matt Rhule a coach in the third, is Matt Rhule a coach in the third year of his previous college stops? No, it's not a 500 coach. He's much better than that. Is he a 500 coach in year 4 at his previous 2 college stops? Well, yeah, I guess he only had one other year 4. That was at Temple. No. Right. So I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy. And I'm just saying what the situation here is not always transferable to other places. It's really unique. It's a unique job. It's unique. It's a unique fan base. It's in a place that has expectations. And when you win, you get all of the good things. But the code and the path to winning is made that much harder because of the things that you can't do or that are hard to do. Harder at a place like this. That's all. And so I don't know what Nebraska's step here is, but this is definitely the problem. This is definitely the problem.
A problem.
Oh, no, the problem.
The problem.
Yeah, this is the problem.
The problem.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the problem.
More than...
This is Matt Rhule's key to keeping his job or losing his job or the program being successful again. Or this is everything. Nebraska has to rid itself of the here we go again, the woe is me, the mental stuff, the whatever you call it, right? How does it do it? Is it the chicken or the egg? Does it win? Or does it get rid of it? Or does it get rid of it and then does it win? Nobody knows. Nobody, but this is the problem. This is the problem.
Question on the YouTube
Hello, YouTube.
from Star Wars Fiend, our friend.
Hello.
Here's a question, Connor. How come schools with losing tradition over the years get a new coach and now they're winning? Rutgers, Cal, Vandy, North Carolina, Indiana, Kansas.
I think first of all, because they hired good coaches. And I think, for the record, I think Nebraska has a good coach. So
I would agree with that.
I think they have. I think Greg Schiano is good. I think Justin Wilcox is good. I think Clark Lee is good. I think Mac Brown is good. I think Kurt Signetti is good, and I think Lance Leipold is good. Like those are all the coaches at those spots, and those coaches are good. But also, and I don't think this is everything because I'm comparing those jobs, which are lower tier Power 5 jobs, to Nebraska. And the thing that you notice about those jobs is when they do rebuild, they're likely taking over from a place that was truly horrible before they got there. In all of the cases, that was true, with the exception of North Carolina, maybe. Those coaches are taking over from rock bottom already, and they are allowed time. They have resources because everybody has resources at Power 5. They're allowed time, they have resources, and they can rebuild in relative anonymity. Silence. Right? Let's just work.